Broncos and their days in the American Football League.
You can get it done. You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
Somebody from the CIA came to speak to us because they were looking for secretaries, and I actually was accepted to work for the CIA and had a date to go to Washington, D.C., and a friend of mine called and said, there's a new football team in Boston. And I called the Boston Globe, got the name of the general manager.
General Manager Ed McKeever is an old hand at football problems. Anything from getting a new player to flying the team all over the country.
And as part of the interview, he put out a piece of paper and put 11 circles on the piece of paper and said, this is the offense of a football team. Name the positions. And I put the tackles next to the center, and the guard should have been next to the center. And I thought, well, that'll be it. 2 days later, he called me and said, would you come to work for the Patriots? So I started in June of 1960.
Joan Parker's is the voice you may hear when you call Congress 1776.
Our house was set up the way our antenna was turned to ABC and NBC, so I used to have to beg my dad, let's go up on the roof, let's turn the antenna so I can see the CBS Eagles game at the Cardinals or wherever they were. It got to be too much of a chore, and my dad convinced me, just, watch the other channel, ABC. There's a game on there.
Houston now is in the midst of a 40-yard drive.
The thing that drew me towards it were people like George Blanda, Billy Cannon.
They give it to Cannon. He's at the 10.
Then it became less important to watch the Eagles.
I remember growing up in Annapolis and sitting on the floor, black and white TV, of course. After watching the first game, either the Redskins or the Colts, then the second AFL game would come on. It was a way to spend the rest of the Sunday afternoon and a way to postpone homework.
At the time when the AFL started, I was like, 22, 23 years old. A lot of guys that were playing were friends of mine. I mean, guys that I played in college with or guys that I played against. That's what the AFL was initially, more opportunities for players to play. And then as I started in coaching, there was more opportunities for coaches to coach.
I never forget the first meeting we had in 1960. I said, listen, I do not know how long the American Football League is going to last, but I'm going to guarantee you this. We are going to be the winningest team in the history of the American Football League. Write that down and underline it.
The only history book that concerned the founders of the American Football League was the one they were writing.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
One that offered a perfect reflection of its time. How fitting that it began on a jet ride, through dreamy clouds, above a fruitful nation. In the hand of a humble man not yet 30, who believed the old way was not the only way.
You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
His words were quiet and measured. His league was sound and fury. His name was Lamar Hunt. This story belongs to all the people whose lives he changed forever.
Coming up, the NFL takes notice.
Suddenly, the NFL, which had no interest in expansion, started a franchise in Dallas.
So, hey, Coach, what are you doing here?
Well, Dan, since I lost 32 pounds on Nutrisystem, I feel so good, I thought I'd take your advice and get back in the game.
It's so exciting to meet you, Coach. You look great.
Wow, Coach, you really are back in the game.
Well, you too, Dan. What are your numbers?
I lost 22 pounds, and I've kept it off for 3 years. Coach, I'm back to my playing weight.
Get back in the game in 2010 with Nutrisystem for Men. Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals absolutely free. Plus the all-new Nutrisystem Jumpstart Kit, designed to put you on the fast track to awesome weight loss.
Hey, you guys. Boomer. Well, thanks to you guys, I did go all the way, and I reached my goal. Whoop! 50 pounds lighter, thanks to Nutrisystem.
Isn't he cute?
Nutrisystem is based on the proven science of the glycemic index. High in fiber and good carbs to keep you feeling fuller longer and help consistently burn calories. Just ask the 4 out of 5 men who say that Nutrisystem satisfies their hunger.
The best part is I never felt hungry. You kidding me, Dan? With all that great food, I found 50 ways to lose my blubber. Pizza, burgers, pasta. Coach, that's what we call real guy food.
Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals free. That's 14 breakfasts, lunches, dinners, desserts, and snacks.
So, Coach, how is the squad looking?
Best ever. You know, I have a real Hall of Famer at the helm.
LT?
Why not, Danny boy? I lost 35 pounds on Nutrisystem. Ready? Okay! Pieces, pastas, burgers, beef. Come on, guy food is all you eat.
Start the year off right. Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals free. Plus, you'll get the all-new Nutrisystem Jumpstart Kit, our secrets to ultimate weight loss. Call or click now.
We're all back in the game thanks to Nutrisystem.
This Saturday at noon on NFL Game Day Morning, Kerry Rhodes and the Jets' playoff hopes came down to the final game of the season.
Right now, it's win or go home, man. Everybody knew it was a big game for us, prime time, Sunday night. The emotion was just, you could feel it permeating from the beginning of the game. The whole world was watching. It was a chance for us to show the world what we're about. We're actually a good team. We can get it done.
Super Bowl Journey on NFL Game Day Morning, Saturday at noon, only on NFL Network.
I'm Darren Horton. This NFL Network Now update is presented by Sprint. The Seahawks have fired head coach Jim Mora after just 1 year on the job. Seattle finished third in the NFC West with a 5-11 record. The Seahawks brought Mora on as an assistant head coach 2 years ago in anticipation of Mike Holmgren's departure after the 2008 season. Now the former NFC West champs are without a coach, GM, and president less than 4 years after they appeared in the Super Bowl. Saturday, the Bengals host the Jets, but before kickoff, Chad Ochocinco will sit down with Marshall Faulk on Game Day Morning. Don't miss it.
I'm only going by what you told Bob Costas, that if Reaver shut you down, he was going to change your name back.
He shut me down. I had 0 catches, right? I dropped 2 balls.
That's not...
It's nothing he did, you know.
So he didn't shut you down?
Child, please.
Enjoy full color football, the history of the AFL. This Network Now update presented by Sprint.
I think probably my mother must have been bitten by a show business bug when she was pregnant with me, because that's just something that's of interest to me. I love show business. I love working on how do you attract the public to buy a ticket.
Well, certainly Hunt was one of the first sports entrepreneurs, as we would call them now. He had a notion of sports as an entertainment business that preceded most of his peers. You know, this was a guy who jumped to the AFL from a failed venture in miniature golf franchising.
A bogey of a business plan wouldn't hurt Lamar Hunt, who at any point could have chosen to fall back on his family's oil fortune. What pumped through Lamar's veins was his love for the spectacle of sport. At age 26, he watched the NFL title game on television.
Barking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts.
There, in a black and white image, he saw a full-color future in professional football, a growing game in a nation coming of age.
The late 50s were a time of tremendous growth. There was more free time, there was more money, and America is moving out to the suburbs, and they are starting to enjoy the spoils of victory in 2 world wars. As all this is happening, the owners of the NFL weren't really interested in expanding. They had stuck together through a world war, through a challenge from the All-American Football Conference. Now that the pie was finally getting larger, they weren't really interested in giving somebody else some pieces of it. Lamar Hunt wanted an NFL franchise, but the owners of the NFL told him the NFL wasn't going to expand. The only way he was going to get into the league was to buy a franchise, and the only franchise that was even considered to be for sale were the Chicago Cardinals. And he goes down to talk to the owner of the Cardinals in Miami, Walter Wolfner, And at one point, Wolfner boasted, look, Bud Adams down in Houston wants a team. There's people in Denver. There's people in Minneapolis. All these places want an NFL team. I don't need to deal with you. So Lamar Hunt shakes his hand, gets on a plane from Miami back to Dallas.
And then the thought occurred to me, and it was literally like a light bulb going off. Hey, if all of these people, me included, want to have teams in a new league or in pro football, why wouldn't a new league succeed? I asked myself that question, and then I thought, well, it will.
He gets some airline stationery and etches out the plans for this new league. This is how many teams, this is what the schedule's like, this is what the budget's going to be like. And then, typical of Lamar Hunt, he gets this great idea and tells nobody. And spends the next few months just very studiously, very carefully planning out how he's going to begin this new football league.
A new league was the least of the NFL's problems. Congress wanted NFL Commissioner Bert Bell to explain why his league should not be prosecuted as a monopoly. So when Bell learned of Hunt's plans, he decided it was time everyone knew about the budding American Football League.
The most exciting new development on the American sports scene came to life in 1960 with the birth of the American Football League. Teams at New York, Buffalo, Boston, Denver, Oakland, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Houston.
I was in the locker room with Cleveland Browns when Paul Brown got up and said, there's a new league starting. Don't pay any attention to it. It's not going to succeed. It's a bunch of sons of rich guys that, don't know anything about football.
Everyone in the National Football League took a pretty much negative attitude towards the new league. But underneath all of it, I thought it would give us a chance to get higher salaries because now we had competition for the NFL. Before that, the only place we could go was to Canada. We had no leverage because I didn't want to go to Vancouver or somewhere.
The NFL was paying attention. Its owners made Hunt and Houston's Bud Adams an offer. Abandon your plans for a new league, and you can each have an expansion franchise in the old one. When both Texans refused, the NFL changed its approach.
In late August, Lamar is back in Dallas, and he gets a call on a Saturday afternoon from Associated Press reporter who wants to ask him if he's got any response to the news out of Houston.
Suddenly, the NFL, which had no interest whatsoever in expansion, started a franchise in Dallas, Texas, which happens to be where Lamar Hunt has his team. They also stole one of the AFL's planned initial franchises.
You can order your tickets now from the Minnesota Viking ticket office.
Minnesota was to be a part of the AFL, and the NFL turned around and offered that same owner group an expansion franchise in the NFL.
I think at that instant, Lamar Hunt realized he was now in a fight. They were going to try to destroy the AFL before it could start.
Coming up, the AFL finds its leader.
What you want is somebody that can open every door in the United States, and I have the confidence that I'm the guy that can do that.
New men, new battles, new season. Premieres Sunday at 9 p.m. on History.
The top college seniors in the nation showcase their talent on the gridiron in the premier College Football All-Star Game. The path to the draft begins with the 2010 Under Armour Senior Bowl. Live January 30th, exclusively on NFL Network.
Which were the greatest games of the 2009 regular season?
Takes the snap, rolls, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Find out on NFL Films Presents tomorrow at 9 on NFL Network.
The day we landed Flight 1549 on the Hudson, people called me a hero. But I want you to meet someone who's a real hero to me. Her name is Aubrey. She's 9 years old, and she's a patient here at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yep, I have ALL leukemia.
Every day, thousands of children around the world depend on St. Jude's life-saving work. They're all heroes, fighting for their lives, and they need your help to survive. Call today and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month. You'll help provide breakthrough treatments, research, and cures. No child is ever turned away because of a family's inability to pay.
I support St. Jude, and I can assure you that the money you give is going to do something extraordinary. Save children's lives. Nothing could be more heroic than that.
Please, call the number on your screen right now.
Work.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
It seemed an almost impossible feat. We're going to go to the moon? Yeah, and I'm going to become the Dalai Lama. I mean...
This was an age of daring. America would shoot for the moon. The American Football League would aim for the NFL and do it with a former fighter pilot as its commissioner.
Most people thought it probably should be a football figure. Of course, Joe Foss was a person of significant national prominence.
He was one of the great heroes of World War II. As a Marine Corps pilot, knocked down 26 Japanese planes. He was a big, good-looking guy, been the governor of South Dakota.
Questioning went along these lines. Have you ever played football? And I said, oh, yes, I played in college. Well, have you ever coached? And I said, my coaching was fighter pilots. If you lost, you got killed. But I don't think you really want to coach. What you want is somebody that can open every door in the United States. And I have the confidence that I'm the guy that can do that. And Lamar said, say, are you interested in a commissioner's job?
The commissioner of the American Football League, Mr. Joe Foss. Let's welcome Mr. Joe Foss.
He had energy, he had charisma, he had drive. People would call the league offices and the secretary would say, Commissioner Foss is en route. That meant he was flying his own plane somewhere. He would go around and make speeches to this Chamber of Commerce or this group of Shriners and talk up the American Football League.
He was an outstanding representative for the American Football League in carrying our story to the American public.
This is it. We'll let the ball players do the talking today. Merry Christmas to you all.
My name's Buster Ramsey, and I've come to coach the Buffalo Bills. What do you say? Let's get started.
Let's talk about humble beginnings. When we watched films, we would hang up a sheet, a white sheet, and we would sit on milk cartons. And we would watch the films, then we'd go out on the field and practice.
In the AFL's early days, some teams were a bit threadbare. Denver couldn't afford to outfit its players, so practice gear was strictly BYO. The game uniforms they were given were UGLY.
Mustard-colored jerseys with chocolate brown pants and those vertical striped socks that we wore.
People would laugh at you. They said, we feel sorry for you, that y'all have to wear stuff like that.
You can't see the striped socks in this footage of the AFL's first game, but watch closely and you'll see Denver's Al Carmichael scoring the first touchdown in league history. At the start, the new league wasn't always easy on the eyes, whether it was the uniforms, the game films, or stadiums like the dilapidated Polo Grounds, home to Coach Sammy Baugh's New York Titans.
Worst damn place I ever saw. It had been run down. They didn't clean it up or anything. Made me sick just to go out on the field.
To make its grass greener, the AFL needed all the help it could get.
I had to go to Dallas, Texas, July the 1st of 1960. And we had 129 guys there. And I noticed at the end of practice, there was a guy come out there every day and he would water the field. Later I found out it was Lamar Hunt.
These players have got the choice. For the first time in, I guess, 10 years, they have a choice of where they can go play.
Lamar Hunt's humility impressed everyone he met, sometimes in stark contrast to the NFL's approach.
Pittsburgh drafted me in the NFL. Buddy Parker was a guy, him and Bobby Lane came to my house, drunk. Was on my front porch about 5:30, woke me up. So we gonna draft you this morning. They were so drunk they were holding each other up in front of my house saying, the hell with that NFL. I don't think they knew my dad was a minister. He went out front. He said, well, you look, my dad was a big old black guy. He talked with a deep voice. You won't be going to Pittsburgh. I said, yes, sir.
The Reverend Haynes was far more impressed when he met Lamar Hunt, and so Abner signed with the AFL's Dallas Texans. Signing players was just part of Hunt's effort to build a team that could battle the rest of the AFL on the field, and that off it could compete with the NFL's Cowboys.
Injuries impaired the Cowboys' offense, but they still managed to hold their own against the toughest competition in the world.
The Cowboys were from the lordly NFL, and they definitely didn't feel like they had to stoop to sell tickets. The AFL, they felt like people have to know who we are, so they did almost anything.
Lamar Hunt, for being as unassuming as he was, loved show business, and he billed his team as the Zing team of pro football, Z-I-N-G. The Cowboys played some games on Friday nights. The Texans would often have a promotion that if you bring a ticket stub from Friday night's high school football game, you get into Sunday's Texans game for free, to get the crowd away from the Cotton Bowl on Friday night and going to their high school game. And then that was the level at which the war was fought.
Cowboys' first 3 years were bad.
They're playing in the established league. They've got the name stars showing up to the Cotton Bowl, but they're losing week in and week out. The Texans have this young team, this exciting team, Abner Haynes, playing this dynamic brand of football.
From coast to coast, from September to December, the American Football League race was a hectic and exciting one. We feel like December 1961 will find the American Football League championship resting in the hands of the Dallas Texans.
Tom Landry admitted to me years later the Texans would have beaten us. It would have been a headline back then. It would have been huge news for the Cowboys to admit that the Texans were better.
Coming up, tough times in New York.
Mr. Wismer really thought we were going to have 40, 50,000 people. And when that didn't happen, he just couldn't function.
It's the first word in the morning. It's higher intelligence from the field. It's go deep analysis. It's inside access. It's the final word at night. Watch NFL Game Day all day. Only on NFL Network. You want the NFL? Go to the NFL.
Right now, Mrs. Jones is freeing herself from restrictive calling circles and switching her entire family to Sprint. That way, her daughter isn't limited to lame calling plans. Her son can talk all day long. And while on the Sprint network, if her husband pocket dials any mobile phone nationwide,
Oh, this is Flavor Flav. Who's this?
it's no big deal. Welcome to the Now Network. Get any mobile anytime for just $42.50 a month per person with unlimited text and data. And right now, buy a BlackBerry Curve for $49.99 and get a second one free. Sprint, the Now Network.
Nothing matches that dentist level of clean. But imagine if you could get that dentist smooth clean feeling every time you brush at home. You can with Oral-B rechargeable brushes. Dentist-inspired cupping action surrounds each tooth to remove up to twice as much plaque as a regular manual brush. The power of a Dentist Smooth Clean feeling every day. Oral-B rechargeable brushes starting at $22. Satisfaction guaranteed. Visit oralb.com for details.
I'd like the sirloin, chicken and pork too, all wrapped in bacon, and all for around $10.
Security! You can't match Golden Corral's Applewood Grill. It's sirloin, chicken breast, and our new scallops, all with Applewood bacon, all for around $10. Only at Golden Corral.
With NFL downloads, you can download highlights from every NFL game,
Incredible catch!
including NFL Network programming and more.
He's down the sideline. Touchdown! This is unbelievable.
You want the NFL? Go to the NFL.
Troy! Big-time players make big-time plays. Talk about that fourth-quarter interception.
Well, you know, I owe my gray hair to Head and Shoulders. It's for more than just dandruff.
Right. No, I want to know about the game-winning interception.
Head and Shoulders, the 7 great things for my scalp and hair.
Didn't ask about your hair, Troy.
You asked with your eyes, Trent. You asked with your eyes.
Head and Shoulders, 7 benefits, 1 bottle. Respect the scalp, get the hair.
All I want is NFL Network.
Down the road from Dallas, the AFL's Oilers were the only pro football team in Houston. From the start, Houstonians had as much pride in their team as they did in their city.
Houston was under, at that time, the shadow of Dallas. You thought of Texas, well, Dallas is sort of the big city there. You said, wait a minute. Dallas is barely a Texas city. This was our attitude. Because Dallas is the only place in Texas that looks north and east for approval. We don't look for approval any damn person.
In the boomtown of Houston, pro football began with a bang. It came when Oilers owner Bud Adams doubled the offer that the NFL Rams made to college football's most explosive player.
Cannon is the only guy I can think of before Namath that really had that kind of, marquee name.
To Billy the Atomic Cannon, it is my privilege to present to you the Heisman Trophy for 1959.
Signing Billy Cannon was part of the Oiler owner's master plan: to win points with his fans by scoring them on the field.
Bud Adams had the idea that in the early days, good defensive backs and good pass coverage would not be in existence. So they did build their team around offense.
Directing the Oilers' offense was George Blanda, a backup quarterback and place kicker discarded by George Halas and the NFL's Bears. Out of the game in 1959, grateful for a new football life in the AFL.
There were a lot of players that came from the NFL that wanted to show the NFL that they made mistakes. And George was one of those guys. Sometimes we think, we get carried away with he wanted to show George Halas. Well, a lot of people want to show people, but they don't have what it takes to do it. George had what it took to do it.
We were back deep in our own territory, and I could just feel on this particular down that they were going to bring in the linebackers and maybe even a safety. So I called full protection, and we isolated Billy Cannon on their free safety. But he swung out of the backfield, and they weren't going to catch him.
Houston's offense carried it to the AFL's first 2 titles.
Gus Grissom is teeing up the ball as the honorary referee, George Blanda, shakes his hand. One of our great astronauts who is stationed here in our Space Center in Houston.
The city that was home to the U.S. space program was also the launch pad for the AFL's first great air show. To its big-time team, Houston had an undying devotion, come hell or high water to the Gulf Coast.
Playing Oakland in 1961, and a hurricane was fixing to come in. It was Hurricane Carla, if I remember right. Did quite a bit of damage around here, but we had a full stadium that night.
I remember Charlie told her, as a matter of fact, and that story is true, that if you had tickets to an Oilers game, never mind a hurricane is coming ashore. The game is going to be played, and damn right we'd be there.
Every day it became clearer. America's newest force of nature was television. It was an engine for information, and if harnessed correctly, a machine to make money. That lesson Lamar Hunt learned from the sport that at the time dwarfed even the National Football League.
Lamar Hunt had been spending much of 1958 trying to decide, does he want to invest in baseball? Does he want to invest in football? And he actually went to a meeting that Branch Rickey held. And one of Rickey's concepts, which he'd gotten from Bill Veeck, was the idea of sharing television revenue. Because Bill Veeck had made a big stink about that, saying that it was unfair that the Yankees should get all this money for the broadcasts in New York when the Cleveland Indians, who Veeck owned, were an equal partner in those games and should share equally in the revenues the Yankees were enjoying. He was branded a socialist for even making the suggestion. But Lamar Hunt understood, in a way that not many people did at the time, that this was not an economic question. It was a competition question.
First, the AFL needed a network. Just months before the league's 1960 debut, it found one in ABC. The deal was negotiated by New York Titans owner Harry Wismer, a former broadcaster who knew how to put on a good show.
Good evening, everyone. This is Harry Wismer inviting you to join me on the 50-yard line of the nation's professional gridiron.
He was a famous radio announcer out of the 40s and 50s and an unabashed promoter, you know, a tub-thumping kind of guy. Nothing wrong with that.
He was somebody who would, at the Waldorf Astoria, be milling around the lobby and then sneak off to a payphone to call the front desk at the hotel and ask to have Harry Wismer paged. And someone would assume that something important is going on with Harry Wismer again.
Who's ever heard of a Titan, number one? And of course, Wismer knew what it was all about. The Titans are bigger than Giants.
The Giants would be in Yankee Stadium, and we'd be at the Polo Grounds, and a lot of people would come over and park their car in the parking lot at the Polo Grounds, and then they would take the subway back over to Yankee Stadium. So the parking lot crowds were a lot bigger than the stadium crowds.
I was able to go up and shake hands with everyone that was there and congratulate them on coming to the game. About half of them said, no, I'm here on a comp. And I said, well, just to get you started, bring a paying customer next time.
Mr. Wismer really thought we were going to have an average crowd of 40,000 to 50,000 people. And when that didn't happen, he was on such a short budget that he just couldn't function.
Coming up, the AFL Goes Showbiz.
We're in Oakland fighting for our lives against the 49ers. You know, it has to be more fun to go to a Raider game.
Tomorrow at noon on NFL Game Day Morning, we'll break down the playoff rematches, find out if Cincy and Philly can rebound from embarrassing losses. NFL Game Day Morning, tomorrow at noon, only on NFL Network.
It's amazing how a simple switch can make life a whole lot better. Try this. Like switching to Esurance. With our Switch and Save discount, just switch from your current car insurance carrier and you'll automatically get a discount.
Thanks, lady.
Esurance is the only insurance company that offers the Switch and Save discount. And that's on top of all the other great Esurance discounts. Once you shop at Esurance, we think you'll find that switching is a good thing. The Switch and Save discount, only from Esurance. Click or call today.
We always talk about football and life. Football's dog-eat-dog, and it's only the strong survive type of operation, and you don't want to show weakness, because if you show weakness, somebody's going after that weakness. A winner is somebody that does things right all the time, not just some of the time, not just when it's easy. If you do things right all the time, you've got a great chance to win on the football field and win when you get off the football field.
Boring room? Ugly room? Make your unsightly room spectacular in a matter of minutes with Fathead. A Fathead is an enormous graphic that sticks to your wall. Life-size athletes, gigantic helmets and logos, and much more. Made from durable vinyl and a patented non-residue adhesive, a Fathead can be taken down, moved, and put back up without leaving a mark or doing damage to your wall. Just log on to fathead.com, where you'll find hundreds of images. And right now, if you buy an NFL Fathead, we'll give you a second one for half price. And that's not all. While supplies last, buy any Fathead, and we'll throw in a free pack of Fathead Tradables. 5 miniature Fathead graphics that fit anywhere. They're free with your purchase. Just enter the code at the bottom of your TV screen. But wait, for a limited time, when you enter this code, we'll ship your entire order for free. Go to fathead.com while these offers are still good and transform your room with Fathead. And now create your own Fathead. Go to fathead.com and click the word custom to upload your photo today.
If you didn't watch NFL Game Day Final, here's what you missed.
You can't just take a week off after you got your butt kicked the last 3 weeks straight and say, you know what, we're going to come out and dominate. It doesn't work like that.
NFL Game Day Final tomorrow after Eagles-Cowboys, only on NFL Network.
All right, we had a great game here this afternoon, folks. It was hard-playing football, the kind that you came to see. We hope that you enjoyed it, and it was a pleasure refereeing a game where people wanted to see a good football game played under the ideal conditions that we play under in the American Football League. Thank you.
I seem to maybe be the only one in my group of peers that was talking the league up. They were hearing and reading things about how it was a second-rate league, how players who played in it were second-rate as well. I actually almost felt that it was mine in my neighborhood because nobody else was interested in it.
I'm not sure if my father even listened or watched the Patriots games, and his own daughter was working for them. Everybody I knew they were a football team. I'm sure they couldn't name 2 or 3 of the players.
And so
we had here a league who had players, Billy Cannon and some others who were known, but most of them were not known. We had to somehow get people caring whether they watched the games or not. I mean, everybody cared if the Giants were playing the Bears. We spent a lot of time trying to personalize some of these players. First of all, what they looked like, and secondly, what kind of people they were. And so we started weaving interviews and things like that in.
Hi, Fred, congratulations. Fred's the tight end for the Dallas Texans.
It's also why we started supering their names. We were able with the AFL, because it was brand new, to do some things that we probably couldn't have done if we had had the NFL at that time.
The American Football League increasingly was becoming a must-see TV, particularly for those who were not dyed-in-the-wool football fans. It was seen as better entertainment.
ABC's bells and whistles captured the spectacle of the AFL. The network was the perfect partner for the innovative league, which brought the 2-point conversion to pro football, along with names on the backs of jerseys.
I had a couple of guys reference to me that, you know, Marty, you're really a big name in pro football. You know that, don't you? And I said, well, what do you mean? Well, look at your name. It's 14 letters. That's a big name in pro football. It did pose some issues for our equipment staff.
So the AFL allowed these kinds of things, clearly aware that they were trying to juice up the presentation. There was definitely a kind of a ragtag, Mickey Rooney, let's put on a show in the backyard kind of quality to it.
We had to make it fun. We had to make the experience good. I mean, we're in Oakland fighting for our lives against the 49ers, you know, and we have to, you know, it has to be more fun to go to a Raider game.
Denver was home to unintentional comedy. The Broncos' hosiery was the cruelest joke of all. If they were ever going to have the last laugh, the Broncos would need to hold a roast for their funny socks.
They decided to have a big night. They took and they piled up all the old uniforms, including the socks. These 2 guys came out onto the field with torches, and they circled the field in front of the fans and dropped the torches into the pile of the old uniforms, and that was the end of them.
Denver fans were overjoyed to see their Broncos in new uniforms.
Go, go, happy from your head right down to your feet.
Costume changes were common in this backyard show of a football league. Before they were the silver and black, the Raiders spent 3 seasons as the black and gold.
Life can be a beautiful thing.
Bills founder Ralph Wilson once owned part of the NFL's Lions. When he came to Buffalo, so did Detroit's silver and blue. 2 years later, the Bills donned red, white, and blue. And every Sunday, their fans partied like it was the 4th of July.
At War Memorial Stadium, there were no rules. There were no regulations. People would bring grills in the aisles. and just passed kegs of beer, tapping it. It was a party. It was a festival.
AFL might as well have stood for Always Fun League. No one knew what they might see next.
We're playing the Boston Patriots in Boston at Boston Field. All the fans, they thought the game was over. So they all came down on the field in that corner of the end zone, and we got time left for one play. We call a slant pass to Chris Burford. Burford is wide open, but suddenly something hits the ball, and it flies out of the end zone, incomplete, we lose the ball game. Cotton Davidson, after the game, he comes over to me, very dejected. He said, Coach, a guy in a khaki jacket knocked that ball down. We get the films the next day, and sure enough, when the ball was snapped, a guy bounced across like a ballet dancer, reached up, took the ball, and that was it. I said, geez, I wish we could have found out who that was. That was the best defensive play we saw all year long in the American Football League.
Coming up, a league on the brink.
Wayne Valley had told Ralph Wilson, I think we're going to have to shut it down. And Ralph realized we can't go on with 7 teams.
Domino's pizza crust to me is like cardboard.
I hear what some folks are saying about our stuff. Your sauce tastes like ketchup. I mean, that hits you right in the heart.
Most companies hide the criticism, and we actually face it head on.
There comes a time when you know you've got to make a change. We improved everything. 40% more herbs in the sauce, new shredded cheese with tons of flavor, and a new garlic seasoning on the crust. We want everybody to try it. The deal is 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. All of it. Not half of it, all of it.
Relive the action you missed.
Keep that train rolling!
Every game of the postseason is re-aired on NFL Replay. Enhanced with coaches' commentary, NFL films footage, and wired sound.
Just keep battling, we'll get them.
Don't miss the action. NFL Replay, Tuesday and Wednesday starting at 8, only on NFL Network.
This is Frank. Frank can't get high-speed internet where he lives, so he's taking matters into his own hands. Frank is so frustrated with his slow dial-up internet, he'll do anything to get the fast download speeds he's heard so much about. Someone needs to tell him. All he really needs is HughesNet, high-speed internet by satellite. It's super fast, and it doesn't use your phone line. And you don't have to go to great lengths to get it, no matter where you live. It's easy for anyone to have high-speed internet by satellite, even Frank. Hey, Frank, there's a much easier way. Get HughesNet.
Order HughesNet now and get free standard installation. Call 800-884-3520 or go online to HughesNet30.com.
Hank Stram got his first head coaching opportunity in the AFL with the Dallas Texans in 1960. Before that, Stram had been an assistant coach in college football, where he'd learned from the legends.
Hank got things in his head, and he was determined to see them through.
Hank Stram was the best quarterback coach that I ever had. He was my coach at Purdue for a couple of years, and he had helped develop my skills.
Getting ready for the 62 season, Lenny had been in the National Football League for 5 years and threw like 24 passes. And he was very disappointed and very disgruntled about the fact that he wasn't playing. So I told him at that time, I said, Lenny, if I give anything, if I could get you, so if you have a chance, if there's any way you can get away from where you are, let me know and we'll bring you to Dallas. I say, well, sure enough, in the spring of the year, he calls me and he said, Coach Brown said that he would put me on waivers and that I would be available for you. And I never forget that I talked to Paul Brown, and Coach Brown said, now, Hank, he said, I want to tell you something. I know you're very loyal, and I know you have a strong feeling for Leonard Dawson, but that kid has lost it. And he said, if you insist on keeping him, you're going to lose your job.
Reunited with his college mentor, Len Dawson spent 1962 matriculating towards stardom.
Each of the winners will receive an S55 Mercury convertible presented by Lincoln Mercury.
The first presentation will be to Lenny Dawson, Player of the Year.
As the season went on, we started dominating people. We had Abner Haynes in the backfield who was having a phenomenal year. And all of a sudden we're thinking, hey, we could be the team to win it all this year.
On the field, Lamar Hunt's team was winning. Off of it, his league was still struggling to compete with the NFL, especially in two-team towns like Dallas and New York. Chargers owner Barron Hilton conceded Los Angeles to the NFL's Rams, moving south to San Diego in 1961. That same year, the Oakland Raiders were close to abandoning the Bay Area.
They were thinking of either sending us to Seattle or New Orleans, and our owners were going to back out because they needed money.
And Wayne Valley had told Ralph Wilson, I think we're going to have to shut it down. And Ralph, to his credit, realized we can't go on with 7 teams. You can't have a pro football league with 7 teams.
Wilson kept the Raiders alive by loaning them $400,000. Oakland general partner Wayne Valley joked that the AFL owners had become a foolish club. Everyone was losing money, some more visibly than others.
H.L. Hunt, Lamar Hunt's father, was asked,
"We understand your son's football franchise lost $1 million this year."
And H.L. Hunt said, well, at that rate, he can only go another 100 years.
He can last 100 years.
I guess he's only got 123 years left.
I've heard many different numbers, and all of them are overly flattering numbers, by the way.
Not every owner was able to hold out for 100 years. By 1962, New York's Polo Grounds had become a graveyard, where Titans owner Harry Wismer was buried in debt.
I remember it was a November day, very sunny at the Polo Grounds. We were practicing, and suddenly there was a kind of an emptiness, a hollowness. And the coaches had surreptitiously slithered off the field. And somebody said, "Paychecks. I'll bet they're paychecks up in the locker room." We realized that the coaches had gotten theirs, and they had a 2 or 3 subway stop head start on us, headed to the one bank, Irving Trust, and the one branch, 39th Street, and the one teller who was authorized to cash a Titan paycheck. You know, we couldn't cash a check or run a bill at Mr. Letterio's grocery store across from the apartment. I mean, Mr. Letterio is a fine Italian gentleman. At one time or another, he'd probably taken care of everybody in the neighborhood, but he just apologized. He said, I read about your husband's football team, and I can't let you have this sausage. So...
3 years earlier, Harry Wismer had been a founding member of the Foolish Club, sharing a common dream with Bud Adams and Lamar Hunt. By the end of the '62 season, his Titans were bankrupt. The league needed a success story in New York, so Wismer's former partners put his franchise up for sale. Whoever owned it next would have to put on a better show than Wismer ever did.
Even though teams were losing $1 million or more a year, and the people who were most closely involved were frequently discouraged, they understood that they really had something here. The league was within the reach of finally being successful.
Coming up, Facing the Facts in Dallas.
Lamar sat him down and said, look, we are not going to make it this way.
X-Men, New Men, New Battles, New Season. Premieres Sunday at 9 p.m. on History.
Hey, Coach, seeing you really brings back some great memories.
Wait a minute, Coach. You're the coach. You taught me everything I know.
No, you're the coach. You taught me everything I know about Nutrisystem. How I can eat the food I love and still lose weight. Heck, I love...
2 sports legends. One simple way to lose weight and eat great. Marino, Shula, and Nutrisystem for Men.
Get back in the game in 2010 with Nutrisystem for Men. Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals absolutely free. Plus the all-new Nutrisystem Jumpstart Kit, designed to put you on the fast track to awesome weight loss.
Like I was saying, Coach, with Nutrisystem.
Let's go to the video. Dan, Glam Man Marino, lost 22 pounds. Don, Blue Suede Chula, lost 32 pounds. Lawrence, I need a new tailor, lost 35 pounds. And me, Chris Boomer Berman, I did go all the way. What? I lost 50 pounds, thanks to Nutrisystem.
Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals free. That's 14 breakfasts, lunches, dinners, desserts, and snacks. That's 70 meals absolutely free.
What I really love about Nutrisystem is the food. Pizza,
burgers, pasta.
Look, if you can eat,
you can lose weight.
Nutrisystem is based on the proven science of the glycemic index. High in fiber and good carbs to keep you feeling fuller longer and help consistently burn calories. Just ask the 4 out of 5 men who say that Nutrisystem satisfies their hunger.
Any guy could do this. Just set a goal.
I reached my goal, 50 pounds, gone. And I owe it all to the coach.
Thanks, Boomer.
Start your year off right. Order now and you can get 2 weeks of meals free. Plus, you'll get the all-new Nutrisystem Jumpstart Kit, our secrets to ultimate weight loss. Call or click now.
Just listen to the coach.
Trust us.
Nutrisystem works.
Welcome to NFL Total Access.
The show that takes you inside the locker room is now in HD. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access tonight at 7, only on NFL Network.
The first debate, I was driving from Orlando down to Miami. And so I heard it on radio, and I got to my radio station, and I said, boy, that was really close. And Nixon was bright, Kennedy was bright, they agreed on a lot of things. That ain't going to change the numbers.
If you had sat with a transcript of that debate, Nixon won. But Kennedy looked young and vigorous, and Nixon looked old and tired. It was another part of American life that was transformed by television.
Television could turn perception into reality and back again.
Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores!
In 1958, it transformed the NFL into a rising power among American sports. 4 years later, on December 23, 1962, the Houston Oilers and Dallas Texans would play in the AFL's third title game, live on ABC. This was the day the new league would take its first step into the American spotlight.
Number 16, defensive quarterback. Intercepted by number 45, David Grayson's at the 40, 35, 30.
We threw 2 or 3 interceptions in the first half, and we got down 17-0 very, very quickly.
It's a fake to McClinton. Dawson throwing to Haynes. He's got it to the 20. He's under the 5, and he's over. Haynes scores.
The Texans looked like they would cruise to their first championship. But in blew that famous Houston weather, and with it, the winds of change.
Who can hurt you from any place on the field in many ways, and you saw him stay in bounds and go.
In the second half, the Oilers roared back to tie the game at 17. Like the NFL 4 years earlier, the AFL was producing a sudden death drama on live television.
Playoff period. Let's go down to Jack at the 50-yard line.
Right here in the playing field, and very shortly we're going to have the toss of the coin as the overtime period will come about.
Stram decided having 40-mile-an-hour winds at Dallas's back was more important than getting the ball first. So he told Abner Haynes to choose the wind if Dallas won the toss.
While the coin's in there, and call it loudly now.
Yeah. Call it.
Heads. Heads! Now, Dallas won. You have your choice, of course, receiving or kicking.
We will kick to the clock.
You're going to kick?
Yes.
To the clock.
Right.
Dallas won.
Haynes misspoke. He thought he was taking the wind, but the words, "we'll kick," meant Dallas had made its choice and would kick off. Houston then chose which end zone to defend. The Oilers would begin overtime with the wind and the ball. It was a dramatic twist a nation of viewers got to see and hear.
Well, Kurt, I asked one of the Dallas players what it was all about, and he simply said Abner Haynes had made a mistake.
Neither team scored in the first overtime. In the second, The team switched sides, and Dallas finally had the wind at its back.
Puts Dallas now in real scoring position.
Dawson would hold for rookie Tommy Brooker, who had a chance to kick Dallas to a championship.
I said, Tommy, just keep your head down, keep it still, and pump it through there, baby. He said, don't worry about it, Coach. I'll kick that sucker right through there like it had eyes.
You can win the game if this field goal is good. The game is tied 17-17. Dawson will hold in the 24. And watch it. The big rush is on. The kick is up. The kick is good. Dallas is the champion. Dallas wins it on a 24-yard field goal by Tommy Brooker. Their coach, Hank Stram, carried off the field. And
there's no way that you can come away from it and not say this was one of the greatest football games ever played. All of that, the magic carpet of television brought right into your living room.
One of the greatest football games I've ever seen.
Dallas's victory ended Houston's 2-year run as champions. It also came on a day in which weather was particularly bad up in the Northeast. There were a lot of people watching the game on TV.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jack.
And it was an excellently played game. It was a dramatic game. It was the AFL's real coming-of-age party.
And we're just as proud as can we that we can win the championship and bring it back to Dallas, Texas.
I thought, geez, this is it. The Cowboys are going to be leaving. They'll have to leave Dallas now because we are the champions. But that wasn't the case. The case was that Lamar Hunt wanted the league to succeed.
Lamar Hunt realized, even though he wanted to stay in Dallas, he could not be truly successful in a town that was divided. The Cowboys could wait it out longer because the NFL was going to be around. The NFL was clearly there to stay. The AFL was much more of a touch-and-go proposition. What he needed to do was create the perception and also the reality that the league was becoming more successful. And the only way to do that was to move his franchise.
For Hank Stram to win the championship in 1962 and then move, he said he just cried his eyes out. Lamar sat him down and said, look, we are not going to make it this way. Broke his heart too.
In the years to come, the AFL would need more than a few successful teams. It would need a league of strong franchises. It would need palatial new homes and compelling new faces. But before any of that could happen, Lamar Hunt would have to put the league before his team. For Hunt, for his Kansas City Chiefs, for the AFL, for everyone, history was about to crack wide open.
On the next Full Color Football.
Lance Allworth was the best wide receiver of the 60s, and he played in the AFL.
The American Football League begins to forge its own identity.
The notion that blacks and whites could be equal was hard one for a lot of people in the country to accept.
Watch Full Color Football, introduced by John Madden, next Thursday at 10, only on NFL Network.
I'm Darren Horton, and this NFL Network Now update is presented by Sprint. Coming up next, an NFL Network exclusive, Pro Football Hall of Fame, the road to Canton, as the Hall of Fame class of 2010 is cut down to 15 finalists. The Seattle Seahawks have fired head coach Jim Mora after just 1 year on the job. Seattle finished third in the NFC West with a record of 5-11. The Seahawks brought on Mora as an assistant head coach 2 years ago in anticipation of Mike Holmgren's departure after the 2008 season. Michael Lombardi reporting that Seattle's brass has already met with Pete Carroll about becoming the next head coach and director of football operations in Seattle. Don't forget this wildcard weekend that with 2 game days come 2 game day mornings. Saturday beginning at noon Eastern will include a Chad Ochocinco sit down with Marshall Faulk that you don't want to miss. Then on Sunday starting at 9 Eastern with all the latest news leading up to the playoff games. Up next, Pro Football Hall of Fame, the road to Canton. This NFL Network Now update presented by Sprint.
Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of professional football. and the home of the game's immortals.
Come on, make them bleed through their ears!
It's with great pleasure that I stand before you to receive the supreme recognition of the professional football world.
Being great isn't good enough to earn a place in the Professional Football Hall of Fame.
I played professional football.
I'm the luckiest man in the world. This is the happiest day of my life.
There is only room for players who threw, ran, caught, blocked, and tackled at the highest level.
You don't get elected into the Hall of Fame by yourself. Thank you, number 88, Lynn Swann. Thank you, number 82, John Stallworth.
For coaches who taught, drove, unified, elevated, and crafted champions.
Hey, what about that now?
Great day for football.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
And for a few select men who built, changed, strengthened, and enhanced the game they love.
He gets a beautiful trophy and a satisfying conclusion to the American Football League.
It's an honor for me to be here.
The legacies of football's all-time best live here. Who will be among the 15 finalists for the class of 2010? The road to Canton begins now.
Since 1963, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has presented the story of the game, its all-time players and coaches, teams and contributors, its heroes and villains. A visit here is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for the fan, with interactive exhibits celebrating the game's rich history and its iconic annual event. But the main attraction is this hallowed room, the Hall of Fame Enshrinement Gallery. This is where the greatest team lives forever. Who will join them in 2010? The list of candidates has hit its final stage as we continue the Pro Football Hall of Fame Road to Canton, presented by Van Heusen at JCPenney. Hello, I'm Paul Burmeister, and thank you for being with us. Our first two stops on the road to Canton revealed the preliminary list of 131 candidates, then the semifinalist group of 25. A voter once told me, though, that a candidate is not a true candidate until he's a finalist. That group of 15 will be revealed today. To take us inside the room, and maybe even more importantly, inside the mentality of the voter, say hello to Rick Gosselin of the Dallas Morning News in his 15th year as a voter, also a member of the senior committee. Jared Bell of USA Today has been covering the National Football League for 28 years now, also a Hall of Fame voter for 13. And Joe Horrigan, our friend from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame's Vice President for Communications and also exhibits. Rick, it had to be incredibly difficult to get from 25 down to 15.
Yeah, it's an overwhelming and humbling process. We eliminated 6 all-decade players in the reduction from 25 to 15. We still have 10 all-decade players left. We have 6 players who went to 8 or more Pro Bowls left. Only 5 of these guys are going to get in. Again, we're going to leave a lot of quality candidates behind.
At the private luncheon they have each year to welcome the new inductees, Deacon Jones invariably tells them this is a team from which you can never be cut. But just like the football culture that these guys grew up in, it's about cut downs and competition to get here, and that's where we are right now.
And, you know, it's also about electability. When these guys have to go from 25 to 15, that's playing in their mind, too. Who of those 25 are electable candidates, and is it their year?
To kind of frame what we'll be doing throughout the next 60 minutes, I think it's important to explain exactly how the selection process works. There are 44 voters, 32 representing each NFL team's region, 2 for New York. The Pro Football Writers Association president and 11 at-large delegates. They select anywhere from 4 to 7 new enshrinees, 2 of which can be senior committee finalists. A candidate must receive 80% approval for election into the hall, and the class can include up to 5 modern era candidates plus 1, 2, or 0 senior candidates. We will present the 15 modern era finalists throughout the show, beginning right now with a pair of the first-time eligible players. Really no surprise. There were 4 who made the semifinalist list of 25, but only 3 who made this cut down to 15. Let's get to the obvious ones first. Rick, the NFL's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, Emmitt Smith slid into the middle of the first round in the 1990 draft because of a perceived lack of speed. But that didn't prevent him from rushing the ball more times for more yards and more touchdowns than any back in NFL history. He won 4 rushing titles and 3 Super Bowls. If there's such a thing as a slam dunk in this process, it's Emmitt Smith.
Jerry Rice joins him in that category.
Yeah, when you talk about Jerry Rice, you think about the big stats and the fact that he's caught more passes for more yards, for more touchdowns than any receiver in history. But beyond the stats, Jerry Rice's career is a testament to his work ethic and his meticulous nature that was second to none. Just like Emmitt Smith, we're not talking about a guy with 4.2 speed. We're talking about a guy who really made himself into one of the greatest of all time.
Talking about a guy who benefited from a couple of Hall of Fame quarterbacks as well. Joe Montana and Steve Young threw Jerry Rice a combined 140 touchdown passes. Time to welcome Steve Young, the Hall of Fame quarterback from the class of 2005. Steve, you threw Jerry Rice 85 touchdown passes. They were all good, but can you pick one that best defined his greatness?
Well, it's one that's most memorable in my mind. That was in the Super Bowl in 1995. Jerry Rice, early in the game, he was about precision. When he ran routes, he was exact. And this is one of those routes, too, where he had to split the safeties and find the middle, and he always had a sense of where he was. Every great quarterback needs a great receiver who runs precision routes, and that's what I had with Jerry Rice.
In addition to being a Super Bowl winning and Hall of Fame quarterback, Steve, you're also the spokesman for fanschoice.com. Looking for 3 players that you and the fans agree should be in the finalist list of 15.
Well, this is easy, right? And I don't think the fans can get this one wrong, or I can get this wrong. Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, and I include Chris Carter because all he did was catch touchdowns, and that's what receivers are supposed to do.
Hey, Steve, thanks for your time. Thank you very much.
You bet. Take care, guys. Happy New Year.
You too. All right, the fans throughout the show are going to hear a lot of opinions throughout the next 60 minutes, but they also have a chance to express themselves and let their opinions be heard. For details, let's say hello for the first time to Michelle Beisner.
Thanks, Paul. Since September 18th, fans have been able to go to fanschoice.com to vote on and express their opinions on the class of 2010. And after over 500,000 votes, there's little surprise that the fans favor Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice. But Raider Nation used the poll to their advantage to put in Ray Guy, Tim Brown, Jim Plunkett, and Lester Hayes. And we'll be here throughout the show giving you updates on fanschoice.com. But now, here's what's coming up on the road to Canton.
Still to come on the road to Canton. The class of 2010 will have great star power, but how does it rate against some of the past classes? Steve Sable places it in context in his own unique manner. Plus, the Fans' Choice Tour visited some of the most hallowed gridiron grounds in the country, allowing fans the chance to meet some of their Hall of Fame heroes and voice their opinion about who deserves the gold jacket in 2010. And we sit down with the legendary NFL film cinematographers as they share their stories behind the iconic shots of the nominees from this year's class. But next, we continue to reveal the 15 finalists for the class of 2010 and debate which of this year's outstanding incoming class of wide receivers deserves first ballot honors. All that and more as the Road to Canton, presented by Van Heusen at JCPenney, continues on NFL Network.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame Road to Canton is brought to you by Van Heusen at JCPenney. Voice your choice at jcp.com/fans.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
I'd like the sirloin, chicken and pork too, all wrapped in bacon, and all for around $10.
You can't match Golden Corral's Applewood Grill. It's sirloin, chicken breast, and our new scallops, all with Applewood bacon, all for around $10. Only at Golden Corral.
Nothing matches that dentist level of clean. But imagine if you could get that dentist smooth clean feeling every time you brush at home. You can with Oral-B rechargeable brushes. Dentist-inspired cupping action surrounds each tooth to remove up to twice as much plaque as a regular manual brush. The power of a dentist smooth clean feeling every day. Oral-B rechargeable brushes starting at $22. Satisfaction guaranteed. Visit Oral-B.com for details.
Welcome to the Now Network, population 49 million. Right now, 1.2 million people are on Sprint mobile broadband. 31 are streaming a sales conference from the road. 154 are tracking shipments on a train. 33 are IMing on a ferry. And 1,300 are secretly checking email on a vacation. That's happening now. America's most dependable 3G network, bringing you the first and only wireless 4G network. Right now, get a free 3G, 4G device for your laptop. Sprint, the Now Network.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
On the next Full Color Football, racial opportunity leads to a painful reality.
Pulls out a gun. You are not coming in here.
Full Color Football, introduced by John Madden, Thursday at 10 on NFL Network.
Of course, Jerry Rice is destined to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but his shoe-in status is not the only first attached to the wide receiver group who made the finalist cut. This is the first time that 4 wide receivers whose careers began after the merger have been selected in the same year as finalists. Rice joined by first-time eligible Tim Brown, Chris Carter, already twice a finalist, and Andre Reed, a 3-time veteran of this step. Cliff Branch, we should note, did not make it from 25 to 15. Jared, what are your memories of Chris Carter?
Well, the lasting impression is body control. I don't know if there was another receiver in NFL history who is as good as Chris Carter in making the sideline catch. He perfected the art of making his body go limp with the toes still in bounds and caught a lot of passes, over 1,100 receptions for his career. And, you know, I'm thinking maybe 376 of those catches should have been incompletions.
Fantastic possession receiver there at the end. Rick, I know you like Andre Reed.
Yeah, the Bills went to a record 4 consecutive Super Bowls, and they did it with the offense, with the K-gun, with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed. Andre Reed stretched the field. He made it easier underneath for Thurman Thomas. And also, you got to look beyond the statistics. He compiled his stats in the worst weather conditions in the NFL in Buffalo. He wasn't catching passes indoors in Minneapolis or in temperate climates in the Bay Area.
Right, like Tim Brown was for the Raiders.
Yeah, you know, like Jerry Rice and Chris Carter, Tim Brown caught over 1,000 passes during his NFL career, but he was also Mr. All-Purpose. I think a great snapshot of what Tim Brown did for the Raiders for so many years was taken in 1994 when he had over 89 receptions or over 1,300 yards on 89 catches, yet still led the NFL in punt return yardage. This man, so consistent, was a rock.
I could be convinced that Brown, Carter, and Reed all belong in the Hall of Fame. But let's look at it this way. Since Jerry Rice is considered to be the greatest of all time, should he be the only wide receiver in this class?
No, I think there are 20 receivers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Only 4 of them were first ballot selections. Jerry Rice will be the 5th. That's the homage the voters will pay Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I think it's a great thought that Rice goes in alone as a wide receiver, but if you start doing that, then what's going to happen with a great quarterback or a great running back down the line? So you don't want to legislate the process to make it that this slot can only go to one guy. But, hey, if more than one guy gets in, so be it.
Let's move to the tight ends now. Charlie Sanders was elected as a senior candidate in 2007, but the last modern-era tight end to go in, that's Dave Casper, all the way back in 2002. Shannon Sharpe, a finalist for the 2nd consecutive year. Rick, he would like to change that.
Yeah, he retired as the all-time leading receiver at the tight end position. And what separates him is he was the leading receiver on two Super Bowl championship teams at 2 separate franchises, Baltimore and Denver.
Yeah, and what a clutch player. You talk about winning those rings. Shannon Sharpe was a go-to man, a clutch performer when they really needed to have it. And, you know, you think about how the tight end position has evolved over the years, and, you know, a generation ago it was Kellen Winslow. Well, Shannon Sharpe took it to another level.
Shannon Sharpe, huge in those championship years, led the Broncos in receptions, 84 if you include the playoffs during that first Super Bowl winning season in 1997. John Elway undoubtedly appreciated those talents then, and obviously he still does now.
The guy that I'd like to see get into Shannon Sharpe. He was a guy that was a great contributor here in Denver, and a big reason why I had the career that I had. Was a great guy to be able to throw to, and to me, the top tight end to ever play the game. But Shannon had the most catches, and hopefully Shannon can get in there. Even though it's going to be tough this year, there's a lot of top players on that list this year.
Now, when Shannon Sharpe retired, he was the all-time leader in receptions for tight ends. That has changed. Tony Gonzalez is now the king of tight ends, so to speak. Does that change how you view Sharpe's candidacy?
I think there's a sense of urgency for Shannon Sharpe to get in before Tony Gonzalez becomes eligible. Because when Gonzalez is eligible, the bar is raised. We've got a new standard, and you're going to see other tight ends that are going to pass Shannon Sharpe in the process. And I think there is a sense of urgency, much like there is for receivers before Jerry Rice came up.
When we continue on the road to Canton, we shift the focus to the run game.
Coming up, we reveal the offensive linemen. Will the Hogs be represented among the finalists? And will anyone join Emmitt Smith at running back as a modern-day finalist? We know the class of 2010 will be star-studded, but how does it match up to other classes? NFL Films president Steve Sabol breaks it down next as the road to Canton continues on NFL Network.
Hey, heads up! Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
Back for a limited time at Chili's. 3 courses, 2 people, $20. Start with a shared appetizer. Choose 2 entrees from over 15 Chili's favorites, like our new better than ever baby back ribs. Then share a dessert. Chili's. 3 courses, 2 people, $20.
National Car Rental knows I'm picky. So at National, I go right past the counter.
And you get to choose any car in the aisle.
Choose any car! You cannot be serious!
Seriously, you choose.
Okay.
Go National. Go like a pro.
Hey, heads up! Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
This is the information retailers don't want you to know, especially now. They don't want you to learn just how much money you've been giving away to retail markups on items you purchase for your home. All because you don't know how to buy like the insiders do at Direct Buy Club, the home improvement and furnishings club with direct insider prices.
This whole direct buy thing has been, you have to be smart to do this. Once you look into everything, you do your research, you do your homework, it's a no-brainer.
It does feel good to know that what budget we do have can be basically sort of expanded. We can do more with the budget we have.
There's an easier way to do it, and that way is to join Direct Buy.
Members buy top quality name brand merchandise from hundreds and hundreds of trusted manufacturers. So call the number on your screen now and we'll rush you your free visitor's pass to your local Direct Buy Club and your certificate for a free 30-day membership. This is a limited offer, so call now.
Work.
This fall, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has teamed up with Van Heusen to hit the road in search of the fans' choice for the class of 2010. Green Bay's Lambeau Field and Denver's Invesco Field at Mile High were among the stops on the tour where fans got a chance to hear from Hall of Famers like Bart Starr, Dick Butkus, and Lynn Swann. At each stop, the NFL legends agreed that the fans' choice needs to be heard.
And I've noticed that there's a little bit of a difference between the guys that are actually going to cast the ballots for real and what the fans think. So get out there, fanschoice.com, and cast your ballots.
Welcome back to the Road to Canton, presented by Van Heusen at JCPenney. The 6 offensive candidates we have already revealed, 4 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 running back, are joined by 3 more offensive finalists, including a pair of modern-era offensive linemen. Dermontti Dawson is now a 2-time finalist and was the center selection for the NFL's All-Decade team of the 1990s. Russ Grimm is on the All-Decade team for the 1980s and is a finalist for the 6th consecutive year. Jared, your thoughts on Dermontti Dawson?
Well, since the merger, 4 centers have been selected to the Hall of Fame. Jim Otto, Mike Webster, Jim Langer, Dwight Stevenson. Of that group, only Otto was selected first-team All-Pro more times than Dawson, who was a 6-time pick. No question, he's the next in line to be selected to the Hall of Fame. He was the premier center of his era. But sometimes when it comes to linemen, it's tough to really quantify how good they really are because they don't have the big stats.
Russ Grimm, strong candidate, too.
Yeah, the Hogs were the face of the Joe Gibbs Redskins, and Russ Grimm was the face of the Hogs. During his 11-year career, he started at 4 different positions. And during the Grimm era, the Redskins won 115 games, 3 Super Bowls. They were a top 10 rushing team 7 times, and they also went to the playoffs 7 times. This was a running team, and there's no blocker from this team in the Hall of Fame. That needs to be corrected.
Now, since there are 2 interior linemen basically of the same era, does it become an either or a one against the other, a versus mentality there?
I think it will this year. because you got 2 spots that are gone already with Rice and Smith, 3 spots left. And I think the voters are going to look and say, well, if we're going to put one lineman in, which one do we put in?
And sometimes when you're trying to separate and split hairs, championships really becomes a big factor.
All right, to the running backs, the men that the linemen block for, we have Emmitt Smith and also Roger Craig. I think a little bit of a pleasant surprise to see him on this list.
Well, you know, Roger Craig was the first running back in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards in the same season that he caught 1,000 yards worth of receiving. And, you know, only Marshall Faulk's done it since then. He was also the first running back selected to the Pro Bowl who was later selected as a fullback. You know, the only running back to lead the NFL in receptions. So Roger Craig, oh, and by the way, an integral part to 3 Super Bowl championships with the 49ers, has all the goods to be selected to the Hall of Fame. And this is a great step in the process for him, is that he's a finalist for the first time. It'll be the first opportunity for us to really discuss Roger Craig in that room.
And Rick, if Thurman Thomas is in as a dual threat receiver and running back, never won a Super Bowl, shouldn't Roger Craig be in too?
Oh, Roger Craig's a triple threat because he came out of Nebraska as a blocking fullback. He never caught passes at Nebraska. He learned how to catch the ball with the 49ers and had 92 catches one season. He evolved into the feature back and had a 1,500-yard rushing season. You know, he is probably one of the most complete backs we've ever seen in this room.
And as you probably noticed, Terrell Davis did not survive the cut from 25 to 15, but there is a former Bronco running back with a chance to be in the class of 2010. No surprise, Floyd Little announced as a senior candidate back in September, Rick.
Yeah, he's the only running back ever to lead the NFL in rushing for a last-place team. He also led the NFL in punt returns as a rookie. Now, he retired as the 7th all-time leading rusher, and the 6 backs ahead of him on the list are all enshrined in Canton. I mean, here's a guy who's waited 30-some years to get into the room one time to be discussed, and I think his candidacy deserves merit. He's a classic case of a great player being punished for being on a bad team.
Yeah, the class just might include Floyd Little, but the fact that this class will include Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith guarantees it'll have star power, but enough to be considered the best class of all time. NFL Films president Steve Sabol has considered that thought, and here's his conclusion.
This year's Hall of Fame class will include the greatest receiver in NFL history and the league's all-time rushing leader. But even with Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith, it probably won't go down as the greatest class in Canton history. When it comes to the Hall of Fame, the class of 1971 may deserve top billing. There were 7 men inducted, including Bill Hewitt, Frank Bruiser Kennard, Andy Robustelli, Y.A. Tittle, and 3 NFL legends who helped set this class apart from the rest. First was quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, who started his career in Los Angeles, where he led the Rams to the 1951 championship. He also set the NFL record for passing yardage in a single game. 554 passing yards, a mark that has now stood for over 5 decades. Then there was running back Jim Brown, considered by most the greatest player in NFL history. His talent was obvious from the start. He's still the only player to be voted league MVP by the Associated Press in his rookie season. And the final member of the class of 71 was Coach Vince Lombardi. His career, like his name etched on the Super Bowl trophy, has come to define greatness, simply and permanently. In 9 years as head coach of the Packers, Lombardi coached in 6 championship games. And it's interesting to note that fellow classmates Jim Brown and Norm Van Brocklin both played their final games in championships against Lombardi. In the 1960 title game, Norm Van Brocklin, then a Philadelphia Eagle, gave Lombardi the only postseason loss of his head coaching career. In doing so, Van Brocklin became the only quarterback to lead 2 franchises to a title. 5 years later, Jim Brown was the NFL's leading rusher and most valuable player. But in the 1965 championship, Brown's final game, the Packers held him to just 50 yards, and Lombardi won his 3rd championship, 23-12. Sadly, the class of 1971 was inducted without Lombardi, who passed away 11 months earlier. But dignitaries from around the world came to honor him, including President Nixon, who once considered Lombardi as his vice presidential running mate. Whether this year's class will be as impressive as 1971's class is up for debate. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because after the induction ceremony, they are all part of the same select group, in a place where careers like Van Brocklin's and Brown's never end, and where legends like Lombardi never die.
Up next, is there a bias against defensive players among voters? With so many deserving candidates in waiting, is this the year the front seven breaks through? Will there be a defensive back on the list as well? Our panel reviews the nominees next as we continue on the road to Canton.
This Sunday at 9 on NFL Game Day Morning. We followed them all season, but now they're forced to reflect on a disappointing journey.
Losing's rough. There's not a lot at this point in my career that I take from a loss.
We lost games that we should have won. That's the worst.
I despise losing. You have to hate to lose, to be great.
Super Bowl Journey on NFL Game Day Morning, Sunday at 9, only on NFL Network.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
If you're looking at a home security system, your local ADT authorized dealer Protect Your Home can give you so much more. Like the new keychain remote. Now you can easily arm and disarm your system with the touch of a button. You can also get fast alarm monitoring response from an advanced network of ADT monitoring centers, plus great local service, a theft protection guarantee, and a money-back guarantee if you're not completely satisfied. And you can get all this and more for about $1 a day. And now with this special offer, you get monitored home security installed for $99, including a keychain remote, all from Protect Your Home, your local ADT authorized dealer. A single monitored system can help protect your home from burglary, fire, and medical emergency. When an alarm is received, the local authorities can be notified for help. So don't miss out on the savings and peace of mind from Protect Your Home, your local ADT authorized dealer. Get our easy-to-use security system installed for $99, including a keychain remote. ADT, always there.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
All I want is NFL Network.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame. Home to the game's immortals.
I hope I honor you by being here today.
The legacies of the all-time greats live here.
Look up, get up, and don't ever give up.
This is the road to Canton.
Now, the old football saying goes, the eye in the sky don't lie. And for the Hall of Fame, the raw offensive versus defensive stats, they don't mislead. Of the 59 players enshrined into the Hall whose careers began 1970 or later, 39 are offensive. That means nearly two-thirds of enshrinees in that time have come from the offensive side of the ball, an alarming discrepancy to consider. If you go strictly by the finalist numbers, there's a good chance for that discrepancy to continue in 2010. Only 5 of the 15 are defensive players. 4 can be considered defensive linemen: Richard Dent, Charles Haley, Cortez Kennedy, and John Randall. Rick, let's begin with the defensive ends. Charles Haley.
He was the final piece to a championship puzzle for 2 different franchises, helping the 49ers win 2 Super Bowls and the Cowboys win 3. His 5 Super Bowl rings are an NFL record. In 1991, the Cowboys had 23 sacks and were a wild card playoff team. Haley shows up in 1992, they double their sack count, and they win a Super Bowl.
You look at Richard Dent, Jared, he's been a finalist now 6 times.
Well, every great defense, even a blitz-happy 46 scheme, needs a great pass rusher, and that's what Richard Dent did to fill the bill for the Bears. 137.5 sacks, one of the league's leaders for years on end, a great rangy rusher. Boy, he just brought relentless heat. When you think about the Bears and all those great players they had, when they had their crowning moment in winning Super Bowl 20, who was the MVP? Richard Dent.
And we've already established the fact that when there are two candidates, same position, same era, there is a little bit of a versus mentality. How do you separate those two?
I think Dent's got an advantage because he's been in the room before. People know him. They know his candidacy. But Haley has those 5 rings. That's tough to ignore.
All right, Haley and Dent, the two defensive ends. We kick it inside to the D lineman and start out with Cortez Kennedy.
I think like Floyd Little, Cortez Kennedy is a guy who's a great player who was punished by the fact he played for a bad football team. In 1992, he was a defensive MVP of the NFL on a team that finished 2-14 in last place. The guy went to 8 Pro Bowls. He was an all-decade defensive tackle, yet he's been basically ignored by this process.
John Randall, incredible sack production from the interior part of that D-line.
Oh, no question about it. 137.5 sacks for John Randall as well. He was like an Energizer Bunny for the Minnesota Vikings, a cat-quick defensive tackle who beat his opponents with speed and with that first step. And the one thing about John Randall, when you think about his effectiveness, is that you realize that he was a smaller defensive tackle, not the guy who was going to block out the sun, but the guy who was going to get there in a hurry.
Another former Viking, Chris Dolman, and also Kevin Green did not make the cut from semifinalist to finalist. This linebacker, Ricky Jackson, he did.
Yeah, there's a tendency to lump him with the pass rushers because he did have 128 sacks, but he was more than that. He was a complete linebacker. He was a throwback. He's one of only 4 players in NFL history to force 40 fumbles. He's second all time with 28 fumble recoveries. And if you look at his numbers compared to Lawrence Taylor, they match up favorably. He broke up 118 passes, twice as many as Lawrence Taylor. Ricky Jackson is a guy who made plays on both sides of the line of scrimmage like a true linebacker.
You walk him up to LT right here, Rick, and those are incredible numbers. Moving into the defensive backfield, Lester Hayes and first-year eligible corner Aeneas Williams did not make the cut to 15. Now, this lack of defensive backs in the Hall become a real bone of contention with a lot of the voters.
Well, you know, I tell you what, Paul, it's been real tough for defensive backs. They almost get not enough respect. Over the past 20 years, just 10 defensive backs have been enshrined at Canton.
There still, though, can be a defensive back in the Hall in this year's class. That's because of the senior committee nominating Dick LeBeau, and we knew about this back in September.
Yeah, Dick LeBeau, he retired 38 years ago. He still ranks 3rd among true cornerbacks in interceptions. He also played an NFL record 171 career games at his position. During his time, he played against 11 of the 23 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He played against 8 NFL MVPs. And his numbers have stood up to the test of time.
Absolutely.
Coming up on the road to Canton, there are few who have as much passion for the Hall as our own inductee, Michael Irvin.
These gentlemen behind me, these men, they inspired me to become the player that I became.
He joins us to share his thoughts about his old teammate Emmitt Smith and this year's exceptional group of receivers when the road to Canton continues.
The top college seniors in the nation showcase their talent on the gridiron in the premier College Football All-Star Game. The path to the draft begins with the 2010 Under Armour Senior Bowl. Live January 30th, exclusively on NFL Network.
Hey, heads up! Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
Boring room? Ugly room? Make your unsightly room spectacular in a matter of minutes with Fathead. A Fathead is an enormous graphic that sticks to your wall. Life-size athletes, gigantic helmets and logos, and much more. Made from durable vinyl and a patented non-residue adhesive, a Fathead can be taken down, moved, and put back up without leaving a mark or doing damage to your wall. Just log on to fathead.com where you'll find hundreds of images. And right now, if you buy an NFL Fathead, we'll give you a second one for half price. And that's not all. While supplies last, buy any Fathead and we'll throw in a free pack of Fathead tradables. 5 miniature Fathead graphics that fit anywhere. They're free with your purchase. Just enter the code at the bottom of your TV screen. But wait, for a limited time when you enter this code, we'll ship your entire order for free. Go to fathead.com while these offers are still good and transform your room with Fathead. And now create your own Fathead. Go to fathead.com and click the word custom to upload your photo today.
It's amazing how a simple switch can make life a whole lot better. Try this. Like switching to Esurance. With our Switch and Save discount, just switch from your current car insurance carrier and you'll automatically get a discount.
Thanks, lady.
Esurance is the only insurance company that offers the Switch and Save discount. And that's on top of all the other great Esurance discounts. Once you shop at Esurance, we think you'll find that switching is a good thing. The Switch and Save discount, only from Esurance. Click or call today.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
Tomorrow at noon on NFL Game Day Morning, we'll break down the playoff rematches, find out if Cincy and Philly can rebound from embarrassing losses. NFL Game Day Morning, tomorrow at noon, only on NFL Network.
We won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and we did it with guys that we love to play with and guys that we love.
Michael Irvin with the smile went in 2007. He followed Troy Aikman. That makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It does. It gets you going.
Aikman went in 2006. The third triplet, Emmitt Smith, will go in 2010. The numbers, Michael, suggest Emmitt is the best of all time. Is he really?
Well, you know, and I get this argument all the time when I travel. People say, man, what was Emmitt like and what would have happened if Barry Sanders had played? I said, guys, Emmitt is the greatest running back of all time, and the numbers bear that out. And not only did he become the all-time leading rusher, he won Super Bowls on his way to becoming the all-time leading rusher, and that says a great deal.
Jerry Rice will also be in this class. We all say he's the best of all time. What influence did he have on you in your career?
Man, I love Jerry Rice. I really do. I just appreciated the chase of Jerry Rice. And I call it the chase because, in college, I had a picture of Jerry in his home uniform and in his away uniform in my locker, watching it every day before I went out to practice, and just appreciated his work ethic, the way he went about playing the game. And I call it a chase. It's amazing that I've always thought of it that way. And the first year that I did beat Jerry, and it was only 1 year I really beat him, statistically speaking, came to the Pro Bowl. He tapped me on the shoulders. This is the first time I met him. He said, "Hey, Irv." And I heard him. And I didn't say a word. I was like, "It's Jerry Rice. He just called my name?" I said, "I'll make him call it again, Michael." He said, "Hey, Irv." I said, "Oh, what's up, Jerry?" And he was like, "Hey, appreciate the chase, man, and the work." And that kind of guy you will always remember.
Would you admit when you were playing that you were chasing him? It's easy now, but when you were playing.
Jerry knew I loved him. He knew I loved the way he played the game. This man was a technician, and I love Emmitt, but I've gone on record calling Jerry Rice the greatest football player ever, the greatest football player ever for what he has done. So, yeah, absolutely. I admitted it when I was playing, and I certainly admit it now. Right. He's the greatest ever.
He's a layup. He's going to be in. 3 of your other contemporaries at wide receiver might go in. Tim Brown is one of them. We'll go through Chris Carter and Andre Reed in a second. But what did you admire the most about Tim Brown?
Well, Tim Brown came out the same year I came out into the NFL. Just appreciated out of his game, his feet were the best part of his game. I mean, his great punt return at times, but you can put Tim Brown outside, you can put him inside, and he always made plays. I always appreciated the competition, beating him when he was in Oakland and even beating him when he was in Notre Dame.
What about Chris Carter?
Chris Carter, probably the best hands I've ever seen. Close to what you guys would, the contemporary guys now, it's Larry Fitzgerald. Mm-hmm. Able to go up and get a football anywhere. Now, Chris Carter's not the fastest guy in the world, won't run away from you. Since he knew he was not going to do much running away from people, he made sure he caught the ball all the time. He was one of the great receivers in our game.
Andre Reed.
This is the man for me.
Yeah.
Now, I love Andre Reed, too. Now, Andre Reed, of course, with Jim Kelly, I was just in high school. I got a chance to work out with Andre Reed, Jim Kelly, getting ready to go to the University of Miami. And I thought, wow, what a player this guy is. This is the guy out of all the receivers, I think, that gets the least amount of credit and deserve just about as much credit as we give the Jerry Rices and all of those guys in the world. He went to 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
4 Super Bowls.
It sounds like you're answering my next question for me. One vote for Tim Brown, Chris Carter, or Andre Reed. Is it Andre Reed?
It would have to be Andre Reed. It would have to be Andre Reed because numbers say one thing, but numbers with going to championships and playing the Super Bowls, that says a great deal.
All right, Michael Irvin, Hall of Fame class of 2007. Good thoughts?
Thank you,
See
buddy. Now, all of the guys deserve to be in.
Of course.
But Andre Reed.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Coming up on the road to Canton, they are some of the greatest players in history, and their immortal images have been captured by the men behind the lenses of NFL films. Stay tuned for their unique stories behind some of this year's finalists.
President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
What if you could cheer on your team in person all season long? Between now and February 7th, using your Visa card enters you for a chance to win 2010 season tickets for your favorite NFL team. More people go with Visa.
New man, new battles, new season. Axeman premieres Sunday at 9 p.m. on History.
I'd like the sirloin, chicken and pork too, all wrapped in bacon, and all for around $10.
Security! You can't match Golden Corral's Applewood Grill. It's sirloin, chicken breast, and our new scallops, all with Applewood bacon, all for around $10. Only at Golden Corral.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
On the next Full Color Football, racial opportunity leads to a painful reality.
Pulls out a gun. You are not coming in here.
Full Color Football, introduced by John Madden, Thursday at 10 on NFL Network.
This is Maya, and if she doesn't look too happy, she isn't. Maya, like many people, has too much credit card debt. How about you? Do you have $5, $10, $15, or even $25,000 or more in credit card debt? Are your creditors harassing you at all hours? Are you tired of going through life feeling like Maya? I'm Todd Cook, founder of 800 Credit Card Debt. Day in and day out, we help people just like Maya. Regular people who got in over their heads in credit card debt and want their lives back on track. At 800 Credit Card Debt, we'll help you find a payoff plan you can live with. One that could work with your creditors to eliminate penalties, lower your interest rates, and even reduce what you owe. Don't let the word bankruptcy enter your thoughts. Call us, because you can pay off your credit cards and still have money left over each month. And the best part is, you'll feel like yourself again. Maya did. Make the call today.
Get rid of your credit card debt once and for all. Call 1-800-596-1265.
Roger Craig went to Nebraska, Emmitt Smith to Florida, but there's a big hint of small school flavor on the finalist list. No less than 6 potential members of the Hall's class of 2010 attended less than traditional football powers. Welcome back to the Road to Canton, presented by Van Heusen at JCPenney. Now, the cinematographers at NFL Films don't care if you attended Ohio State or Kutztown State. Their lenses capture greatness all the same, and their recollection of the stories is pretty great, too.
You know, to get back to, we were talking about offensive linemen, and I think one of the great shots of offensive linemen is Stevenson. Yeah, what was that? Dwight Stevenson. I think it was probably Donnie's shot, and he just mashes him down. Like, because how many times when offensive lineman is inducted in the Hall of Fame, it's hard, if it's a guard, you show a guy pulling out, but with Donnie shooting, that shows you the real blood and guts of the trenches. When you shoot that, do you ISO the guy, or you just sort of stay in the line of scrimmage?
I usually try and find somebody I have a clear line of sight to, and because I'm shooting 120 frames a second, it's always fun to see what you get, because there's hands to the face, into the nostril, the pads or the shoulder being turned or tweaked, or you just don't see these things happening at real speed. That's why it's fun to shoot for NFL films.
Good evening, sir.
All right, baby.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you, man.
Well, when Chris Carter finally gets put in the Hall of Fame, he came out of the huddle. He was wired, and he looked over at me and said, "Stay right there. It's coming at you."
Hey, right there. Stay right there.
And sure enough, the play landed right in my lap.
Culpepper to the end zone, throws to Carter, got it! Touchdown! Come on!
And that was his 1,000th career catch and a touchdown.
I never heard that story, but that's like Babe Ruth calling his shot, really?
Yep, stay right there. It's coming at you.
But how many times have there been players or coaches that we've all talked about have like this dual personality? You see them off season and owners mean, "Hey, Bob, how you doing? It's great." And then you go up to them before the game and you get that 1,000-yard stare. Joe Gibbs was like that. Who couldn't have been the nicest guy before a game.
The one guy that scared me to death one day was Charles Haley. Yeah. I went up and got in front of his face and sort of stuck it in his face. He gave me a look. Yeah. So, and I was looking through the lens. I went, "Okay," and I just started backing up. And as I backed up, he just kept looking at me.
The guy who was good was Emmett. Emmett always had a sense of what was going on around him, especially as he got closer and closer to the all-time rushing
He has a
record.
good sense of history.
Oh, you got butterflies. That's big, man. It's big.
I loved your shot of him walking down the tunnel the day
when he broke the record.
When he broke the record. You were behind.
Everybody had the front, and I thought, well,
it's in everything.
Jerry Rice. We had him mic for a game once, didn't we? And
we actually, yes, we did.
And where did the mic end up?
It wound up in a toilet. He had a bad first half.
Super Bowl.
Tell him to get me the ball.
And I'll never forget because we could actually hear them in the locker room, and one of them went blank. So I called Scott Carter. I said, "Go find out." So Scott goes back in. He comes out. He's got rubber gloves on, and he's holding this thing, and it's actually dripping.
How about John Randall as just pure entertainment?
Well, you covered him more than anybody. He had all of that vocabulary, the Night Riders and all that stuff.
We're coming! Night Rider! Night Rider!
What was he talking about?
Movies. John loved movies. He would watch movies. He would get a tagline or a favorite remark from a film and make it part of his repertoire.
Now lock and load, baby! Lock and load!
The Wires, to me, were the most fun when they were Shannon Sharp.
Forgot my helmet. I'm about to pull a Thurman Thomas.
I remember the first time we put a mic on him, he just didn't care that it was on.
Trying to make me pull a Thurman Thomas.
Do you remember the shot I got of him in New England? Calling the president?
I called the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots.
The Patriot fan sitting back there could hear him, and he loved it.
They're coming. Help is on the way. Help is on the way.
I want to ask Donnie a question. Our audience is familiar with your shot, you know, the ball in the air. But when people see your shots, people don't realize how fast that's happening. I mean, they'll see that ball floating like that, and in reality, it's like that.
I used to come in and look at my footage, and one day your father said, "Donnie, the best advice I can give you is keep that ball as big in the frame as you can. It's easier to shoot and it's easier to focus." And that's what I started doing.
Speaking of your father, as a contributor, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Your father does belong.
He didn't just change football, he changed the entire production of sports.
Think of anybody else in pro football who's had an impact for so long. And, you know, from Hollywood to Bollywood, they've copied our techniques, and Big Ed's got to be in the Hall of Fame someday. No, that's, I mean,
it's nice of you to say that.
Hopefully they'll change that someday.
Up next, what are the chances of the senior nominees? Dick LeBeau and Floyd Little getting the call from the Hall. With all the great players named as finalists, is there any room for coaches and contributors on this year's list? And how do the voters make the difficult choices on February 6th, which will make up the class of 2010? We'll find out as the Road to Canton continues on NFL Network.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame Road to Canton is brought to you by Van Heusen at JCPenney. Voice your choice at jcp.com/fans.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
Nothing matches that dentist level of clean. But imagine if you could get that dentist smooth clean feeling every time you brush at home. You can with Oral-B rechargeable brushes. Dentist-inspired cupping action surrounds each tooth to remove up to twice as much plaque as a regular manual brush. The power of a dentist smooth clean feeling every day. Oral-B rechargeable brushes starting at $22. Satisfaction guaranteed. Visit Oral-B.com for details.
Good news, my Phoenix office. The meeting went great. They love the presentation. Judy, great job on the printing.
I'm Amanda.
Tom, James, nice job on our brochures and letterhead. Lewis, keep up the good work with our shipments.
It's Peter.
Great job, everybody.
That's a closet.
You know what, guys? Take the afternoon off.
We can't.
That is why I hired you. World's proudest boss.
We understand you can never have too much help. FedEx Office.
You got some pretty important reasons to eat better. So now, 23 Campbell's Chunky Soups have 100% lean meat and a full serving of vegetables. A man's got to eat. He just wants to eat better. Campbell's Chunky.
Hey, heads up. Did you know for the first time in history, you can vote for who you want to see in the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, Van Heusen and JCPenney are giving you the power to vote and be heard at fanschoice.com. Tell the Hall what you think. Vote now.
If you didn't watch NFL Game Day Final, here's what you missed.
You can't just take a week off after you got your butt kicked the last 3 weeks straight and say, you know what, we're going to come out and dominate. It doesn't work like that.
NFL Game Day Final tomorrow after Eagles-Cowboys, only on NFL Network.
Which were the greatest games of the 2009 regular season?
Takes the snap, rolls, throws, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Find out on NFL Films Presents. Coming up next on NFL Network.
All I want is NFL Network.
Two senior candidates for the class of 2010. Floyd Little, the former Broncos running back, selected to 5 Pro Bowls, and he led the NFL in yards from scrimmage and rushing back in 1971. Dick LeBeau, when he retired with 62 career interceptions, that was second all-time. Still pretty good. Third among pure cornerbacks. Joe Horgan, take us inside the room on February 6th. When it comes time to discuss the seniors, how does that happen?
Well, it starts very simply. The two candidates, LeBeau and Floyd Little, are put before these selectors in an alphabetical order. They discuss them thoroughly, and they bring up all their merits, and then they vote up or down. And we don't know the results. We won't know the results until the class is announced. But it's important to remember that if a senior isn't elected in that process, that doesn't make him ineligible. He can come back as a nominee in future years as a senior candidate again.
Right. And Jared, I would imagine most of the time you spend thinking about and considering the candidates for this class goes into the modern era finalists. Is it difficult to give the proper respect to the seniors?
Oh, no, not at all. Because one thing about all of these finalists, seniors or not, they're very worthy candidates. So you know that they're legends of the game. But I think one of the things that happens with the seniors committee in bringing forth the seniors candidates is they do such an excellent job of vetting these candidates. So when they bring them to the full committee, you know that these guys are very worthy, and it's been weighed from different angles, and they're definitely candidates that you want to consider.
Now, Rick, I know you like both of these senior candidates. Do you see either one or both getting in?
I would hope both of them get in. I think both of them deserve a fair hearing. Both these guys have waited over 30 years to get into the room one time. Now, you look at Dick LeBeau, who's third among pure corners. I can't imagine the third all-time rusher or the third all-time passer waiting 38 years to be discussed one time. So I would hope they get a fair shake.
We've hit the offensive players, the defensive players, the senior candidates. Time to get to the coaches and the contributors. And Jared, I'm pleasantly surprised that Don Coryell has made the list of 15.
Well, if you consider Sid Gilman the grandfather of the modern passing game, then Don Coryell has to be the great uncle. You know, the NFL liberalized the passing game with the rules in the late 70s, and Don Coryell was ahead of the curve in terms of taking advantage of that. From 1978 to 1983, the Chargers at 6 years led the NFL in passing offense in each of those years, and it just showed what Don Coryell could do in terms of spreading out the offense, and it was really an innovator of, you know, to the max.
Yeah, the innovation to the passing game is the key. One coach, Don Coryell, 0 contributors. On the list of 25, we did have a pair, Art Modell and Paul Tagliabue. Some people probably surprised, Rick, that Paul Tagliabue not on the list of 15.
Yeah, but they haven't been in the room. I mean, there's been pretty intense debates over Tagliabue, and he's not making any progress. I think people thought maybe let's take a year off and see if the board can rethink this.
Right. Okay, here is the list of semifinalists who did not make the cut to 15. Among them are special teamers punter Ray Guy of the Raiders, who actually led the fans' vote on fanschoice.com. And the Bills' Steve Tasker also not making the cut from 25 to 15. Jared, do you think we will ever see a special teamer join Jan Stenerud, the only special teamer in the hall right now?
Oh, you can never say never, but it's difficult when you think about the position players versus a quote-unquote special teamer. I think it's more likely to see hybrid guys who had an impact on special teams and also had an impact at a particular position.
All right. We have now seen all of the 15 finalists. Now here's Michelle Beisner on how you can vote for your choice.
Thanks, Paul. The fans have had a chance to vote for their favorite players to join the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They've voiced their choice in the primary rounds with over 500,000 votes. On the site, we can see how the fans' choice compares to the official selectors, and you'll notice that there are some very interesting differences. Now we start all over for the final round of votes, and the playing field is level. There is now one list of final candidates combining the selectors and the fans' picks. And from right now until the day before the Super Bowl, the fans can tell the selectors who they would choose for their 5 modern-day inductees. Don't delay. Go to fanschoice.com to cast your vote today. And don't forget that you can vote as many times as you want between now and February 6th. Then tune into NFL Network Live that afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern to see who the fans chose versus the selectors. Paul, back to you.
Michelle Beisner, thank you very much. The final step in the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection process will take place at the annual meeting held the week of the Super Bowl. And by that time, the selectors will have been given detailed biographies of the 17 finalists. We discussed the process with the seniors. Joe, take it from here.
Well, as we say, the senior candidate discussion is followed by a yes or no vote. And then we go immediately into the 15 modern era candidate discussion, which is then followed by a vote to reduce to 10. Those 10 modern era candidates that survived will be further discussed, followed by a vote to reduce to 5. The final 5 candidates voted on individually, yes or no, for election to the Hall of Fame.
And I'm wondering now, I've wondered all fall, what it's like inside the room on February 6th. I know you can't tell us everything, but is it friendly? Is it heated? What's the demeanor like?
I think it's respectful. I haven't heard a whole lot of yelling, but you can sense the intensity. I mean, there have been some discussions that have lasted on candidates half an hour, and you've had, half of the 44 voting members talk about it. You want passion in a player's candidacy or a coach's candidacy, and you want to sense that and get a momentum feel.
Yeah, it's like being in the jury room, really, and you hear pro and con, and I think as a selector, you want to go in with an open mind, obviously, and you want to be able to be swayed if it's appropriate. And so you listen to this thing, and sometimes there are surprises, and there's a lot of lobbying that you have to categorize, usually from outside of the room. But we had a case a few years ago where Harry Carson said, take me off the ballot. Well, Harry Carson's in the Hall of Fame right now.
It would probably all at once, Rick, be a tremendous honor to be a presenter, but also you feel a lot of pressure with that too.
Yeah, I don't feel the pressure in the room, but I feel the pressure externally, outside the room, as the Dallas representative in Dallas. A couple years back, there were 7 finalists. 5 of them made it. 2 of them didn't. The 2 who didn't make it were Cowboys, Rayfield Wright and Bob Hayes. The next week in Dallas wasn't very good for me. Both those guys eventually got in the Hall of Fame, but that's where you feel it, outside of the room.
Now, the Pro Football Hall of Fame Road to Canton, now presented by Van Heusen and JCPenney, rolls toward the final selection. And the class of 2010 will be announced exclusively right here on NFL Network Saturday, February 6th at 5 p.m. Eastern, live from Fort Lauderdale. Please join us then. Our thanks to Steve Young, Steve Sable, the NFL Films cinematographers, Rick Gosselin, Jared Bell, Michelle Beisner, Joe Horrigan, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm Paul Burmeister. Thank you for joining us on the road to Canton.
I'm Darren Horton, and this NFL Network Now update is presented by Sprint. The Hall of Fame class of 2010 is down to the final 15, and the NFL's career receiving and rushing leaders are among the distinguished nominees. 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, Jerry Rice is a final 15er. Rice finished his career with 1,549 catches, over 22,000 yards receiving, 197 touchdowns. He's joined by Emmitt Smith, the 1993 league MVP, rushed for 18,355 yards, 164 touchdowns in his illustrious career. Each man won 3 Super Bowls and a championship game MVP award to boot. Other notable finalists include Chris Carter, John Randall, and Shannon Sharpe for a second straight year. Raiders great Tim Brown, the offensive innovator Don Coryell, 5-time Super Bowl winner Charles Haley, and Andre Reed, Jim Kelly's main target during Buffalo's run to 4 straight Super Bowls. This NFL Network Now update presented by Sprint.
The greatest games of the 2009 regular season. Today on NFL Films Presents.
If y'all ain't excited about this game, you can't get excited about no other game. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Let's go, come on, let's go win this thing right now.
See some double coverage, it doesn't matter!
Got to change the pace of the game now. Don't let them get comfortable.
Everybody grab it out there, nobody tackle! Tackle that guy! The hell do you think you're out there for? That's a hit right there, Sean. You're looking at a living legend right now. Let's do or die right here, man. That's a battle, man. That's what Sundays are about.
256 regular season games are in the books. We've watched them all and proudly present our picks for the most compelling contests of 2009.
In Week 7, an expected shootout between 2 of the league's top-ranked passers turned into a slugfest. Brett Favre was sacked 4 times, and a Vikings team that came in averaging more than 30 points per game was held to just 7 in the first half.
Relax. We all up. Y'all look like me. You know what I mean? Y'all the ones normally telling me to calm down. Y'all calm the down. You got me? You said we're going to have to overcome an adverse situation, right? Okay? Now, that's all we need to do. Then line up, punch in the mouth.
Ben Roethlisberger passed the Steelers